I've seen your feedbacks on my social media feeds, and a number of you want me to analyze the coming NNPP and Labour Party merger. Now, one thing you have to understand is that a lot of Nigerians are very emotional about politics. So it's very hard for Nigerians to look at politics from an objective standpoint. So you stand above and then you look at politics from an objective standpoint. I've got sympathies for the People's Democratic Party, but I'm able to do that. Why? Because I'm a political pundit. I've got a weekly column in one of Nigeria's biggest newspapers, and it's very widely read. So I owe the public a responsibility to do analysis just like this. Now, I've seen some members of the People's Democratic Party who have outrightly dismissed this merger. Now, that's going to be a very, very big mistake, because what's happening is that for the first time, you're having a real handshake between the Northwest and then the Southeast. So we've never had that before, except in the First Republic. And in the First Republic, we didn't have the Southeast, we didn't have the Northwest, we just had the North, the East, and the West. So this is going to be the first time. Now, because this is the first time, there are a lot of dynamics at play. We have a person like Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, who incidentally has said he's never going to be a vice presidential candidate. So that tells us that for this merger to work, Peter Obi will have to accept to be the vice presidential candidate, or will step down and then nominate someone else. Whatever the case, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso is a major force in Kano. He's the strongest force on his own in Kano. Now, imagine that Shekarau has joined forces with him. Already he's the strongest force, and now Shekarau is coming. So he's now grown from being the strongest force in Kano to being a formidable force in Kano. In Jigawa, Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Kaduna, and Katsina, those are the other 6 states of the Northwest. He's not so much as a factor. But in Kano, which has the largest voting bloc in Nigeria, they've got 10 million registered voters, and then actually, for the last election, they had 8.2 million voters. So it's a large voting bloc there, a very, very large voting bloc there. And so this man commands a lot of respect in Kano. So we're going to see him bringing out a lot of votes. He might be able to deprive both the candidates of the People's Democratic Party and the candidate of the All Progressive Congress from having significant inroads into Kano. And now, what we're seeing is that the People's Democratic Party deputy is from the South, but he's also got one leg in the Southeast. That's Ifan Yokowa. And now we have Peter Obi, who is in the Labour Party and who is wanting to merge with Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, who is the force to be reckoned with in the Southeast. So all of a sudden, we're seeing the entire Southeast at play, and then we're seeing Kano at play. So what that leaves is that the two candidates of the main political party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress, have to have a stranglehold of their enclave. Now, with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, for the Northeast, that's not going to be difficult. He's actually going to pull that off. I see every state of the Northeast going his way. The only state that where he might have some challenges might be Borno State, because of the voting pattern in 2019 and the voting pattern in 2015. So there might be like a challenge in Borno State, but for every other state, Yobe, Taraba, Adamawa, all the states, the 6 states of Bauchi, the 6 states of the south of the Northeast, he's going to make he's going to get block votes. Now, if we go to Bola Tinubu in the Southwest, Bola Tinubu in the Southwest, other than Lagos, because Lagos is, that's where we're seeing, a lot of people talk about the voter surge, We're not seeing the voter surge in the Southeast or in the Northwest. The place where Nigeria currently is actually seeing the voter surge is actually in the Southwest. 17 million people have registered in the Southwest. Now, a lot of those registrations have come from Lagos, Oyo, and Ogun. So we're seeing that in places like Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, where Bola Tinubu probably will be able to pull a lot of votes there because he's Yoruba, and those are very, very homogeneous states. But in a place like Lagos, and then with the surge coming, a lot of people are saying, because the data hasn't been released, specific data hasn't been released by INEC, so we're working about on a hypothesis. A lot of people are saying that the high voter surge is coming from people of southeastern origin in Lagos and people of northern origin in Lagos. So it's going to put Lagos into play. So while this merger between Rabi Musa Kwankwaso's New Nigeria People's Party and the Labour Party, of which Peter Obi has now joined, it is very unlikely that they can win the election, because obviously with votes from just Kano and then with significant votes from the Southeast, you can't win this election. However, what can happen, which is also unlikely, is that they can force a runoff. Now, what's a runoff election? A runoff election is a situation whereby the candidate with the highest number of votes, which is looking likely to be Atiku Abubakar, with the way things are now, does not have the required geographical spread to be declared outrightly the winner. Now, we know in Nigeria, the geographical spread is to have 2/3 of the votes cast in, is to have 1/3 of the votes cast in 2/3 of the 36 states and Abuja. So that is a serious threshold. You know, Muhammadu Buhari ran 4 times, and 3 times he wasn't able to cross that threshold. So we see that, okay, if you look at the Northeast, so when we talk about the Northeast, we talk about Bauchi, Adamawa, Gombe, Taraba, and then Yobe. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is going to get block votes there. Borno, we really don't know what might happen in Borno. He might get block votes in Borno. He might not be able to get block votes in Borno. We really don't know. But these 5 states is going to get block votes there. Now, if you come to the Northwest, he's likely going to win in Sokoto, Jigawa, and then in Zamfara and Kebbi. Now, we do not know what's really going to happen in Katsina and Kaduna. We think he's going to win in Kaduna. Now, if we come down to the North Central, he's likely going to win in Kwara, Benue, Plateau. The other states of the Northwest, of the North Central, we're looking at maybe Niger State. It might be a state where he's likely to win. But you know, Niger State and Nasarawa State, going by their voting patterns, these states have tended to be very loyal to the All Progressive Congress. So he's the most likely candidate to win. But then with the entrance of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and Peter Obi, if this merger sails through and if Peter Obi agrees to be the vice presidential candidate, it might, not likely, but it might lead to a situation whereby there's a runoff. Now, if there's a runoff, it's, you know, the runoff elections are only between the 2 top candidates. So that's likely going to be a runoff between Alhaji Atiku Abubakar on the one hand and Bola Tinubu on the other hand. Whichever way this goes, I see Alhaji Atiku Abubakar winning the 2023 elections, either outrightly or via a runoff. Now, if you've watched this and you have questions arising from this, put your questions in the comment section. I intend to do this analysis every week until the February 25, 2023 presidential elections in Nigeria. So your comments and your feedback will determine what I will be talking about next week. Now, this is Brother Mokri saying, talk to you later and God bless you.
But Reno travels all around the world. I hope you get inspired about what you see. Apostle of greatness, Reno is a master. Only one man against the whole world in large. Fighting with the monsters, poverty I can't stand. That's why Reno is